Okay, so in this mini lesson, we'll go through the tools that we need. Typically, you need 7 items to be able to practice, some of which you may find substitutes at home. Other items you may need to buy. Let's start with the brushes. I want to introduce you this brown, the most popular kind. This is weasel hair actually, and the weasel hair is more firm. Okay, we use this weasel hair brown kind to make sharper ends or more angular characters, and this is white made of goat hair. Goat hair is much more supple. It's good for writing seal script style, more curvy and more gentle. Here, this is a different interesting brush. Has a goat hair on the outside and weasel hair on the inside. The most common beginners will choose this kind with the goat hair on the outside, white on the outside, and brown on the inside. And how to judge if a brush is good is if it's flat. If you lay it out like this, it's a straight line here. Each strand of hair comes to a tip. So different size. This smaller brush is for writing characters, maybe small, very like even as small as your nail cap. A medium brush with maybe 3.5 to 5 centimeters long, about medium size. And these we use just about 1/3 or 1/4 of the brush, the tip part, to write. These kind of brush you can write character about the size of your fist, about 10 by 10. Okay, so this is a good size to begin with. As beginners, I always ask my students to get these water writing sheets. These water writing sheets are very interesting materials. They will show marks when we just dip water. So this is pure water. But when the water writing sheet is wet, the marks will show. And when it dries, the marks goes away very quickly. I like to use all blank piece of Xuan paper. Xuan refers to the county place in China that is renowned for making the best such paper. As beginners, what you need to know is this paper has 2 sides, one smoother side and another rougher. So you can feel it with your palm, with your finger, with your hands touching the paper like this. So usually we use a smoother side to write, but you can use either side depending on what you prefer, what effect you're after. I would like to also share some classification of paper. Xuan paper has raw, medium, raw, and I don't want to say cooked, but anyway, the raw paper refers to paper that doesn't have alum. We sometimes put alum in the paper to make it less absorbent. So the raw paper is the most absorbent kind, and the semi-raw is not totally absorbent, so the marks won't bleed as much. And the, I guess, mature paper is where you put a lot of alum on it so that it becomes more stiff. The paper is more stiff, also the ink doesn't bleed. The paper is not as absorbent. Traditionally, when we talk about ink, we use these kind of ink bars. This is made of soot and mixed with some herbs, some glue to make into a bar. Dried, and then it becomes an ink bar. You can grind on the ink stone to make ink. But nowadays, more people conveniently use these kind of liquid ink. You simply pour it into the ink dish, and then voila, we're ready to go. Then we have the ink dish. I like to use 1 water dish and 1 ink dish, 2 dishes when I write calligraphy. So 1 for water and then 1 for ink. Because in the process of writing calligraphy, sometimes when the ink becomes too dry, you can always add a little bit of water to balance it out. The mat is also quite important. The mat is this sheet underneath. So usually it's like felt. You can use a felt material. It comes in most typically black, but also you can have gray color or even white color, any color you like, or you can find some felts in your local textile store. Anything goes. Anyway, the purpose is to buffer between the table and the sheet. The last thing that we need is the paperweight. So this is also quite self-explanatory. You use the paperweight to hold the paper, right, as we write. You may use one, at least one, or you can just get a few. You don't need to have a specific paperweight. You know, you can just take anything as a paperweight if you are creative. So this is usually how I set up my table. I have the mat underneath, I have a piece of shrink paper or the water writing sheet, and I have my pen, I have a paperweight, I have a water dish, and the ink dish. We're ready to go. If you have any questions, please leave your comments in the comment box. Also join my school community for more in-depth calligraphy practice.